The movie begins with a fast-paced montage of bustling city scenes contrasted with Aron Ralston's quiet solitude as he prepares for an adventure. Aron is energetic and impulsive, packing supplies for a weekend of solo canyoneering in Utah's Blue John Canyon. He grabs his gear, backpack, climbing tools, a video camera, and minimal food and water, without checking too carefully. One critical detail: he forgets to tell anyone where he's going. The movie quickly establishes Aron's personality. He's self-reliant, adventurous, and perhaps a bit overconfident. He doesn't answer his mother's calls and leaves his apartment in a rush, hinting at his disconnection from others. With music pumping, Aron drives into the vast Utah desert, full of confidence and excitement. As he bikes across the red rock terrain, the camera captures sweeping landscapes that emphasize the freedom and isolation of his journey. He reaches Horseshoe Canyon, stashes his bike and sets off on foot, eager to explore the maze-like canyons. The tone is light, energized, and full of life. Yet there's a subtle undercurrent of foreboding, giving off the feeling that something will go wrong, but Aron doesn't feel it. Aron continues deeper into the wild, unaware of the life-changing event that awaits. His carefree demeanor contrasts sharply with the physical and emotional trials he'll soon face. The momentum carries forward as Aron soon encounters two hikers, Christy and Megan, kicking off the next chapter in his journey. These two young hikers, Christy and Megan, are slightly lost while exploring the area. With his usual charm and confidence, Aron offers to help them find a more exciting route. He suggests a detour to a hidden underground pool, accessible through a narrow passage in the rocks. Intrigued and trusting his enthusiasm, the women follow. What follows is a playful and memorable sequence. Aron leads them through tight sandstone crevices until they arrive at the concealed pool, bathed in filtered sunlight. Laughing, all three strip down to their underclothes and take turns diving into the crystal-clear water. It's a joyful, lighthearted moment, a contrast to the intense survival story that lies ahead. The chemistry between the three is natural and relaxed. Aron flirts a bit, jokes around, and for a short while he connects with other people. These moments emphasize the importance of human interaction, something he will soon be completely deprived of. After the swim, Aron parts ways with Christy and Megan, turning down an invitation to a party they're attending that night. He playfully tells them he has another date with nature. This encounter is based on Aron's real interaction with the hikers he met that day. Aron then continues alone into the narrowing slot canyons, closer to the event that will define his life. After parting ways with Christy and Megan, Aron continues deeper into the sandstone maze of Blue John Canyon. Confident and undeterred, he navigates the narrow rock formations with ease, squeezing through tight passages and leaping across crevices with practiced agility. The scenery is breathtaking, and Aron is fully immersed in the thrill of solo exploration. While descending into a particularly narrow slot, he misjudges his footing. A loose boulder shifts beneath him, causing him to fall several feet into the crevasse. As he tumbles, the massive rock follows him down. In an instant, it wedges tightly between the canyon walls, trapping Aron's right arm against the rock face. The moment is sudden and brutal. Aron screams in pain and disbelief, realizing his arm is pinned and immovable. He immediately tries to lift, push, and shift the boulder using all his strength, but the rock won't budge. Panic creeps in, but he forces himself to stay calm. Using his video camera, he begins documenting the situation, noting the time and location. He checks his supplies: very little water, no cell signal, and a small amount of food. The grim reality sets in. No one knows where he is, and he can't free himself. This pivotal moment marks the true beginning of Aron's ordeal. The film shifts tone, from adventure to survival, as he faces the terrifying possibility of dying alone in the canyon. Trapped alone in the canyon, Aron quickly begins testing ways to free himself. His right arm remains firmly pinned by the massive boulder, but he doesn't give up. He uses the dull blade on his cheap multi-tool to chip away at the rock's surface, attempting to reduce enough mass to loosen it. It's slow, exhausting work, and the tool proves ineffective against the sandstone and rock. Aron also tries a mechanical approach. Using his climbing gear, he constructs a rudimentary pulley system, hoping to generate enough force to lift the boulder or shift his body. The ropes strain and dig into the rock, but nothing moves. His face shows growing frustration and disbelief. Despite the pain and difficulty, Aron documents each attempt with his video camera. He talks to it like a diary, staying upbeat on the surface, but gradually acknowledging the seriousness of his situation. He tries to ration his food, a small amount of trail mix and water, realizing that help may not come for days if at all. As the sun moves across the sky and the cold desert night sets in, Aron wraps himself in what little clothing he has for warmth. He continues brainstorming escape strategies, but starts to sense how truly alone he is. The canyon becomes a silent prison, the boulder unmoved and unforgiving. Aron's early determination begins to clash with reality, but he isn't ready to accept defeat yet. As hours turn into days, Aron's early optimism begins to wane. Trapped and increasingly weak, he begins using his video camera not just to document his situation, but to talk directly to anyone who might eventually find the footage, or, perhaps, to himself. The recordings become a window into his physical deterioration and emotional unraveling. At first, Aron maintains a sarcastic and humorous tone. He stages a mock interview show, pretending to be both the host and the guest, sarcastically blaming himself for not telling anyone where he was going. Each video entry reflects the passing of time, dehydration, and the growing toll of exposure. He speaks to his family through the lens, offering apologies and expressions of love. These monologues feel raw and unfiltered, an emotional release and a way to stay connected to the world outside the canyon. His physical condition deteriorates, his lips crack, his body weakens, and hallucinations begin to blur the line between memory and reality. Still, the camera becomes his lifeline, giving him a voice, even as his hope begins to fade. The video diary serves as both a coping mechanism and a time capsule. Through it, Aron clings to his humanity and identity while confronting his own mortality. As his condition worsens, Aron's hallucinations grow more intense. He imagines conversations with friends and loved ones, including a particularly poignant moment with his ex-girlfriend. She tells him that he never lets anyone in, a statement that cuts deeply. These visions intensify his feelings of regret and self-doubt. Despite his bravado earlier in the film, these imagined exchanges show the vulnerability that Aron has hidden from others. Through these surreal episodes, Aron's inner conflict becomes clear. He longs for connection and redemption, yet he feels trapped by his own pride and emotional walls. The hallucinations serve not only as a psychological escape, but also as a way to confront the emotional truths he's been avoiding. By the end of this sequence, Aron's hallucinations intensify, leading him to a disturbing yet life-affirming vision of his future son, a flash of hope amid the torment. As Aron's physical state continues to decline, his hope wanes, but a powerful vision begins to emerge. Exhausted and dehydrated, he drifts in and out of consciousness, the desert heat and isolation taking a heavy toll on his mind. In a moment of delirium, Aron dreams of a future he hasn't experienced, one where he has a family. In the vision, he sees himself as a father, holding his young son. The image is vivid and emotional, symbolizing what he stands to lose if he doesn't survive. The vision brings him a sense of urgency and purpose, propelling him into a new resolve to escape the canyon. For the first time, he realizes that his survival is not just for his own sake, but for the life he can still build. This hallucination contrasts with his grim reality. He briefly imagines that someone might find him, but as he wakes, the harshness of the situation settles in. He is still trapped, alone and powerless, his arm pinned beneath the boulder. Despite this, the dream stirs something within him, a renewed will to fight, to survive, and to return to the world he took for granted. The dream becomes a pivotal turning point. It reignites his will to live, offering him a sense of connection and motivation, and marking the beginning of his struggle to take control of his fate. In an agonizing moment of clarity, Aron realizes that his only chance of survival is to amputate his own arm. After days of struggle, physical deterioration and growing despair, the decision becomes a painful but necessary one. He examines his arm, still pinned beneath the boulder, and sees no other option. His only tool? A dull multi-tool knife that has barely served him during his attempts to dislodge the rock. The process is excruciating. Aron first attempts to cut through the muscle, but the blade is too weak and his strength is waning. His hands are shaky from dehydration, and the knife is barely able to make a dent. Despite the agony, he presses on, fighting through the intense pain, determined to live. At one point, Aron uses a rock to break the bones in his arm, a horrific and desperate move that allows him to cut through more effectively. The physical toll is enormous, but the emotional toll is just as great. He begins to lose consciousness, but his vision of a future, with a family, and the hope of escape, pushes him forward. The amputation is brutal and life-altering. As Aron frees himself, the horror of the moment is balanced by the glimmer of survival. He's still alive, but his ordeal has taken an irreversible turn. After amputating his own arm, Aron is finally free from the boulder that had trapped him for days. His body is weak, and blood loss threatens to overwhelm him, but his will to survive pushes him forward. The pain is excruciating and Aron is barely able to stand, but he begins the arduous journey toward escape. With only one arm, he has to rely on his remaining strength and limited resources. Aron climbs up the rocky terrain, pushing through the intense pain and exhaustion. He's lost a significant amount of blood and is still suffering from dehydration, but the idea of survival keeps him moving. With each step, the weight of his ordeal becomes more real. He is physically broken, but he continues to crawl, using every ounce of energy he has left. Eventually, Aron reaches the top of the canyon, where he spots a group of hikers. He calls out to them, his voice weak but desperate. The hikers are initially startled, but when they realize the extent of Aron's condition, they rush to help. They offer him water and immediately call for assistance. The rescue operation begins and Aron is airlifted to safety. As he is lifted away from the canyon, the camera captures his face, relief, exhaustion, and a profound sense of gratitude. The ordeal is finally over. This marks the end of his physical struggle, but the emotional impact of his journey will stay with him forever. The final scenes show him meeting his infant son and his partner, symbolizing the future he fought so desperately to return to. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth recaps and reviews. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the hidden truths in every story.